Hello and welcome to D2C Podcast. I'm Eric Dyck. Today we're revisiting VKTRY Gear with a friend of the podcast, Drew Arciuolo, VP Marketing at VKTRY Gear, the makers of high-performance carbon fiber sporting insoles. This sporting accoutrement space is just absolutely blowing up, and it was awesome to see VKTRY's amazing growth powered by Drew's organic content marketing strategy on TikTok, Reels, and Shorts. This podcast covers the state of the art when it comes to organic content, specifically how Drew took a viral visual hook that perfectly illustrates his product's value and turned it into a repeatable format that's now generating 8 to 10 million organic impressions every day. You'll hear how organic site visitors engage at a much higher rate, and we'll also dive in on how to perfectly blend an influencer marketing strategy into your organic content. If you're looking for victory in the D2C game, you're not going to want to miss this one. On with the show.
Find the content that your demo consumes. It's like we have all of these funny, like our tech stack is like really awesome. It has all these discovery tools and sources of information. The most powerful tool, I just created my For You page like on TikTok and Instagram to think I'm my target market. And so it thinks I'm like this elite high school, college level basketball player. Now it's like, I'm just going to show you the content that people like you are consuming. It was the easiest way to get inspiration for our next content, and also influencers. It was just taking that gold mine of content and influencers and ideas and just like, how do we make our channel mimic this?
Looking for an effective way to drive traffic to your Shopify site and increase sales? Criteo's integration with Shopify helps attract buyers with relevant ads, deliver rich consumer experiences, and drive better commerce outcomes. The Criteo plus Shopify integration allows merchants to launch in a matter of clicks, meaning no development or technical skills are needed. Benefits of this integration include expanded reach, greater personalization, elevated acquisition rates for high-intent buyers, and increased retention. With Criteo, you can acquire new customers across the open web and build audiences from the world's largest commerce dataset. To get started, visit criteo.com/DTC. Drew, welcome back to the D2C podcast. It's a long time coming. You were one of my favorite attendees at our very first C-suite event in Victoria. What's new? What's going on?
Well, thank you for having me back, Eric. Things have been crazy. Yeah, it's been a wild time here at VKTRY headquarters. We've been having a lot of fun, doing a lot of traveling. Itching to get back to Victoria or at least the area, hopefully the Vancouver area sometime soon. We're out here in Connecticut, where it's just not the same.
So let's talk about where we left off, because we did a podcast before and we really talked about your ability to kind of, first of all, build this product out, build out the product market fit. And I think you guys had scaled it pretty significantly. I think even, heading into the Victoria Mastermind. Where were you when you left that? And then to how far you've grown now with VKTRY Gear?
Sure. Yeah, I would say, looking back even like a year ago when I had first connected with you, maybe a little less than a year ago, we had done, we had grown significantly over the first 5 years or so of the company. We had reached 7 figures of revenue annually. And, we had to fight through COVID a good bit at that point. We were at a point where 95% of our sales were team sports. And as everyone knows, team sports shut down pretty much in 2020. And so, I would say that was a reset year for us. And 2022, I would credit as the year of, everything kind of transforming, us figuring out the true product market fit, and the higher level strategy of how we were going to really achieve scale. And so, fast forward to the last 12 months or so, and things have gone, I would say, hyperbolic. We're
like a spring-loaded carbon fiber shoe sole, like up through the uprights, basically, right?
It's very symbolic. Isn't that funny? Yeah, we've loaded up like a springy insole. But no, it's been awesome. We're currently pacing 3x, what we were last year, and so we've crossed over the 8-figure mark. We should be crossing over the 8-figure mark this year, and it's been awesome. We're profitable and we're growing. We're hiring like crazy. We're having a good time.
Amazing. Yeah, I saw your tweet. H1 1H 2023 versus H1 2022. You're up 218% at the time of the suit, and your CAC is down by 43%,
Yep.
which is amazing. You know, you already have a product with a pretty high price point, so a pretty good AOV to market to. And I think I have a good hunch as to why your CAC fell so far, and it probably has something to do with the 700 million organic video views that you kind of have coming your way. Or is that just CAC from paid channels?
It's blended. So
it's blended. Okay,
yeah. So we're on pace to do 700 million organic views this year. I wouldn't be surprised if we were closer to 1 billion. But you know, our content team and it really started, you know, with just an iPhone, starting a TikTok channel and playing around with Reels, and what has now turned into, you know, we have an awesome team here, and I'm fortunate enough to be the face of the brand on a lot of the content, and I'm able to travel and meet a lot of our audience. So it's been awesome and a lot of fun, honestly. And yeah, if you told me a year and a half ago where we'd be now, I would tell you you're crazy.
You have to go follow Drew, and we'll link to him on Twitter. He's got quite a good Twitter voice, and you put out a lot of value there. And I want to talk about some of the specific formulas you have for both content creation and for how you think about your channels. But I want to just first drill in on this idea. You know, when you came to the mastermind in Victoria, you told a story, and then you told it on the podcast as well, about like having this great concept for the shoe, creating a video where your father was spring loaded the insole and then had it fire up through the uprights there, and how that video went fully viral, and that was your first probably experience with going viral with the product, but that you didn't have it set up to really capture the brand equity you created because you didn't have it branded properly. And I did like a quick survey of your social content, and it's like you've taken that awesome hook of like, look what this shoe insole does, look what this great visual cue is, and then you've built your channel kind of around that, which is really cool to see. Can you talk about that process a bit?
Yeah, certainly. So for those who are unfamiliar with our shoe flip, we call it, my dad, when he first invented, he invented the product. He's the founder and inventor of VKTRY. We own a shoe store in Connecticut, and he would like sit outside the shoe store after he invented our first prototype of these carbon fiber insoles. And he would put them in a shoe. Obviously, he has plenty of shoes to choose from at the shoe store. And he would bend it. He would go bring the heel to the toe and then like slide his hands off, and the shoe would fly up in the air. And I vividly remember thinking, like, what are you doing? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, I just didn't get it. And it was really cool, but I think maybe I was just too close. He was my dad, too. You love making fun of your own dad sometimes. Yep. And
he's
whatever. We have that kind of relationship where we can, like, I just poke fun at him all the time. And it's been a lot of fun, though. And so fast forward 4 years ago, we had a close friend of ours at the company. He was actually a VP of business and product development. He was like, I'm going to bring my iPhone to a football field, and you're going to do that. And it's going to go over the goalpost, and then we're going to post it. And this is 2018, like Facebook ads. So this is like, you know, totally cracked, like ridiculous time in Facebook growing a business. Yeah. And so they recorded a video and put it in an ad account in 2018 when I first started with the company, actually, when I'd first officially gone full time. And it went like crazy. And that was really what allowed the company to really get its legs. And, you know, it's funny looking back at it, we didn't do much else with that video. You know, we played around with it, but until I would say really last year when I posted on TikTok, it did pretty well. And then I hired an awesome content guy, and now we started iterating on it. Like, how can we figure out, like, how do we scale this? How do we make this more than just one video? And so
yeah. How do you productize lightning in a bottle, you know, like?
Right. It just, people can now understand why the product works or how the product works by it flying up in the air, because it returns energy. You put energy, every athlete, when they run or jump, their foot does bend, maybe not as much as we're bending it. Of course not. No one's foot bends in half, but every foot bends. And so when you put that energy into the ground, a foam insole would disperse it. So like the insoles that you buy when you buy a sneaker, the insoles that come with it are foam. They disperse the energy. Our insole returns it. resulting in higher verticals, faster sprints. So that's the science behind the product. But oh, there you go. You got them in there.
Well, that's pretty good. Hoka's got some good spring, actually, I got to say.
Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah.
That might have a carbon plate in it.
It might, yeah. Interesting. For the YouTubers.
Yeah, Hoka's a nice pair of shoes, Hoka. But so people now, when we do these videos, it's like, oh, I kind of understand what you're doing here. Of course, that comes with a lot of criticism. You know, the internet, the trolls are hilarious. But it also has become like a trademark for us. We're able to be known for something that's just not just like boring insoles, like whatever. Like, no, we have a way to visualize the benefits of our product in a fun and creative way that's so iterable. Like, there's so many ways we can go with it. And so that was really what allowed us to kick off the growth. And now we've just kind of put a flag in the ground and said, this is our brand.
And so what iterations have been the most popular? Like what has gone the most, like, you're absolutely right. It's the perfect metaphor for your shoe. You can do it in 5 seconds and you understand the value, and you're getting to see something unexpected. You're getting to see a shoe fly up into the air that you don't normally see. Like what iterations on this essential concept have been the most viral? So
I'll tell you the most impactful was actually just almost 8 months to the day ago. So we had this partnership with a company that was going to walk us into a couple schools, and I was able to do like a pitch of the product to these athletes. It was one of the best high school football programs in the country. So it was like a really cool interaction. I was able to talk about the product, and then I go, and it's pinned. It is pinned in our TikTok profile if you go to this video. But I go, when you put our insole in, you know, things are a little different when you have them in your shoe. And I bend the shoe and I flip it up in the air, and they all their jaws drop and they go,
gasp,
just like this.
Yeah.
And that reaction is so much more important than the flip itself. Of course, the flip is crucial, but the reaction is what makes it so algorithm friendly. And so, like, seeing kids on TikTok or Instagram Reels, seeing other kids, like, now they're the ones in person. They're not paid actors. They're like freaking out.
Yeah.
So that emotion is number one. Like,
takes it to the next level. That takes it, because that takes it totally. I was thinking of our client Songfinch, or they used to be our client at Pilot House Songfinch, and they had all these reaction videos to people hearing that song for the first time. And that's so smart to take it to that next level, to not just show the product, but show the impact that the product can have and people's experience of it. That's cool.
Precisely. Yeah. And I think we talked about Songfinch last year, and that also like kind of helped crack that code. You know, is like, how do you get your, I guess that's like a good tip, is how do you get, you know, your target market to, you know, how do you show your target market that the emotional impact that your product provides, not just the impact, but emotionally, what does it do for people, and how can you capture that?
And you're doing that man on the street type content as well. It sounds like you're saying that you're traveling to places, you're doing these presentations or whatever, but like that's such low hanging fruit in order to get those reactions, right? Is to actually just bring your product into a public space and start recording.
Precisely. Yeah, exactly. And we walk in, it's funny, like we started doing these trips, and now we've done maybe like 10 of them, maybe more. And no one knew who we were. It made it honestly that much easier, because then I'd flip the shoe and everyone would go nuts, and it was awesome. And like by like the 4th or 5th trip, you know, we'd walk in and people would be like, oh, like it's the insoles. Like they knew it. And then like it was hard to get that organic reaction. So I was like, man, I almost wish we got back to the time where no one knew about us. But you know, it is what it is, and certainly not a bad problem to have.
Prisoner of your own fame.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to focus in on one of your posts that you made, I think sort of at the start of June. And it's this idea, if you had to restart your channel, like I think there's probably a lot of people listening to this who maybe have a YouTube channel that have neglected it, kind of like our YouTube channel, actually, that we've kind of neglected, and we want to rectify that. If you were starting either like a YouTube channel or a TikTok channel, I guess you can pick which one. What would you think about? Like, what would be the 3 biggest considerations about making this a success?
Sure. Yeah, I think you know,
just find the post.
I got to find the tweet, because I think I know what you're talking about. I do know what you're talking about. Yeah. So let's see. So number one, I'll explain it here. So stop trying to speak to everyone. This is huge. So like the inflection point for us was really like July 2022. Pre-July 2022. or it was really just myself again with my iPhone, trying to make videos for everybody. I was trying to be the athlete's insole. And I mean, how many athletes in the US alone are there? God, I mean, 100 million, 70 million probably people, 50 million, I don't know. But it's a massive, massive, massive audience. And so like how do you break through to that many people? You can't, especially when it's just you and an iPhone. So what I did was, we actually had this video again about a year ago that was like our first kind of smidge of virality, and it was basketball, and it was dunking, and it was very specific to the basketball community. And so we just kind of shut everyone else out, and we were like, let's just attack the basketball community with content, speak to them. We had a paid ads campaign that was like perfect for the basketball community. It was jump higher, were the two words, jump higher. And we just started, finding influencers that were in basketball. We started making more content in basketball. I picked up a basketball, went to the basketball court, and started making basketball content. And it made it so much easier. And it's funny, like, sales started to rise after that month over month. And from a volume standpoint, every other sport rose with basketball. It was like the classic high tides raise all ships, right? Like at one point, I think we didn't do a single effort in football. I mean, we did a single effort, but we did not do anything different in football. And I think football sales like doubled or tripled. And it's funny. It's like people just start to take notice when you go deeper and not wider. And that's, I think, the most important thing you can do.
Huge addition by subtraction. Just like focus in to a white hot beam of light on your your best market. That's really interesting insights that it actually brought up the rest of the markets as well.
Everything. I don't know if there's anything that decreased. I really don't.
Yeah.
And then
focus.
number two was one was focus. Number two was find the content that your demo consumes. So like, of course, you figured out who you're speaking to. Now, what are you going to give them? And the most powerful tool, it's like we have all of these funny, like our tech stack is like, really awesome. It has all these discovery tools and like, sources of information. I just created my For You page, like on TikTok and Instagram, to think I'm like my target market. And so it thinks I'm like this elite high school, college level basketball player. And so now it's like, I'm just going to show you the content that people like you are consuming. It was the easiest way to get inspiration for our next content, and also influencers. It was just taking that, I'd say gold mine of content and influencers and ideas, and just like, how do we make our channel mimic this?
This was a total idea that was actually expressed at our Las Vegas mastermind. Was you can in their case they actually set up a separate profile that was so that their personal profile. But you're pretty much a college athlete, so you might as well own it in your research as well. But I think that's a huge tip for anyone listening.
Yeah, for sure. And this was like my business profile too. Like our business profile was, I just live on it. I'm barely on my personal now because I just am swiping. It's so dangerous. My screen time is not something my doctor would be thrilled about, or anyone that cared for me. Yeah.
No, that's the way it works with screen time. Super neat though. Okay, so you start absorbing the kinds of content. That I did have a question about that. I was wondering, like, have you done much with, like, adapting to trends or anything like that with your core hook? Like, are you putting trending audio behind your videos? Like, what are you doing in terms of trends and your content? Yeah,
big time. Audio is number one, like figuring out what audio is hot right now. You just got to kind of be in the loop. You can't be a poser. You can't be acting like you're one of your target audience. Like, you have to be consuming the same media, the same audio. And trends are important. I think incorporating trends are great. I wouldn't make your whole identity finding and replicating trends, because I think trends are like a little, like, if let's say you go viral with a trend, like, people aren't going to know you for your brand. They're going to know you. Like, what I'm basically trying to say is, when we follow like a trend, like CapCut trends are big on TikTok right now. Like, when you get the right CapCut trend, you see like your views go up, but I don't notice engagement, and I don't notice site traffic correlating as equally. It's just like kind of like a nice to have, but not as important as like organically building an audience that cares about your content. It's like trends are
Yeah.
cool, but they're just like flashes in the pan. But it's still like, I think, important to stay on top of them. Is what I'm trying
And
to
it's
say.
probably the same when it comes to influencers, I bet. Like you're looking for that same crossover where you want to have content that is going to resonate with your audience, but that still feels like that influencer's content as well. You
Yes.
can't step out from that too much or it won't work.
Precisely, yeah. And I think that's a good, transition into point 3 I had about starting a profile from scratch. Is when you create a piece of content on organic social media, and this is the same for paid, and something I can go into later is how organic and influencers is just feeding our paid. It's just, if something performs well organically, it's going to perform well, most of the time on paid. It's like we barely even have like a paid strategy. It's more just feeding our organic to our paid. But anyway, not to get off topic. When we create content, the way that our content team looks at it is like, in the first 3 seconds, do I know what I'm signing up to watch? Because you're scrolling, your feed is never ending, and there's content that's going to be below your piece of content that's probably better. And so how do I know what I'm signing up for in 3 seconds? Like, don't show me text that isn't matching what the video is saying, or vice versa. Or it should all be presented up front, exactly what I'm signing up for. And I think audio is important in that. Is like, all right, if this audio is something I would listen to or I've seen videos of, like, maybe I'm more likely to stay engaged. But I also need to know what I'm signing up for. So I think creating context with every piece of content you put out there is so crucial.
I like that because we always talk about those first 3 seconds being absolutely integral. We talk about a hook or things like that, but there's not a lot that goes into actually telling people what to do in those first 3 seconds. And I think setting that context, making, like, not wasting their time, making sure they know what everything is huge.
Right. It's like, if you didn't understand an email subject line, like, why would you open the email? It's almost like, think about making a subject line for every piece of content you make. Like, here's what you should expect. And maybe it's a comment, maybe it's text, maybe it's just captions, whatever it is, it's got to be upfront, and it's got to let me know what I'm signing up for.
Amazing. Let's move into the organic discussion and just talk about it, because I think, I've chatted a lot with Isaac Medeiros from Mini Katana, and they are I think they're forced to be an organic only content because they sell weaponry, which they can't have on Facebook and such. But talk about how, as VP of marketing, which I think is a promotion, so congrats on that.
Thank you.
Where does organic fit into your funnel?
Yeah, no, it's funny you bring up Isaac too. He actually saw one of my tweets like 6 months ago and reached out. Was like, hey, see you're doing organic well, would love to chat. We had a 30-minute call. He gave me all of his knowledge, gave me his cell phone number, hit me up if you're ever in LA. Like, what a guy. So if Isaac's listening to this, shout out to Isaac. But organic is our identity. Our organic feeds everything else. Organic dictates. Organic's our top of funnel, almost completely. I mean, not totally. Meta does what Meta needs to do, and so does non-branded search and things like that. But organic has allowed us to really open things up. It's free impressions besides whatever the content costs to make it. If I buy a lot of shoes, as you can imagine, that's a cost, right? But it's literally like, we just kind of throw things at a wall, see what sticks, and things that stick, we just double down on. We make more of. We create series, and then so what we do is every 2-3 weeks, we just take this folder of content that's performing well, whether it's influencer, whether it's something we just put together in the office, and we give it to our agency, and then they put it in the ad account and they test it. And sure enough, all of our top ads were organic videos that we put together for organic and did well, and we sent it over to our agency, and now we have this wonderfully, I don't even know what the word is. There's just so much, like, it's next man up type
synergy.
stuff.
Lots of synergy.
It's synergistic. It's fun. It's light. Like, there's no well done paid ads. There's I don't think we even run we do run static, but we're not doing like product shots. We don't have a studio with like a camera like taking pictures of our product. It's all just video content that we just keep feeding and feeding and feeding from organic. And
I love that. I was thinking today, I saw an ad that was like, whenever I'm scanning my too much time on TikTok, I quite often, even now when I'll see a sponsored ad, I'll look down, make sure it's okay, it's sponsored. And I had for the first time today, like I'm interested. The way they've phrased this content, they're not making an ad, they're making entertaining content. I'd actually like to see this, but I wouldn't let myself because it was paid. I'm like, no, I don't want to see it. So it made me think of a podcast we did a while back about brands that are actually releasing their paid content on their social feeds as well. We had one of our brands go viral with just sort of like an ad that was sort of like an animated breakdown of their product, and it went. I think it got like 500,000 impressions in a couple days, and it just made me think that your approach circumvents that a bit, because you guys do everything organic first. So anything or a lot of the things, most of the things that make it to your paid account have first debuted on organic and had that chance to give people that experience.
Right, and then that same person who saw us first on organic, is then scrolling on Instagram and gets a paid ad. Or down funnel type of ad that mentions a 90-day money back guarantee or whatever, they're warm. They're familiar with the brand and what we're about. And from there, it's just, as everyone knows, CRO and a pretty decent welcome series. And so we can just, keep optimizing for those two things to continue to make our bottom of funnel that much better.
And then when it comes to people that come in organically or people versus ads, which are more valuable? I see you have some data on that.
Yeah, organic sessions are way more valuable than paid. It's actually like, now that GA4 is a source of truth, their big thing is engaged sessions. I think organic users right now are like 3 times as engaged as paid.
Amazing. And I bet their LTV is better. They're like, over time, they're bought in organically.
Yeah, I'm not that deft at North Beam yet to give you that answer, but I would almost guarantee it.
Amazing. Let's drill in on influencers a little bit, because that's another area that you put out some thought leadership, essentially. First of all, when you say do you differentiate between influencers and creators? When you're talking about influencers, are you literally talking about using them for their social, their influence, or do you mainly view everyone as content creators at this point?
No, I very much view influencers as influencers. But of course, it's like a square is a rectangle is a square, or whatever. Like they are content creators, and we do repurpose that content on organic and paid. But we're trying to audience share, and we do everything on a CPM basis. So we have a group of influencers, and we tell them we give them a lot of creative freedom, and speak to your audience, because reaching people is hard these days. So if you can reach people, your own audience, with content that features our product, great. We'll throw it on our channel, which drives down the CPM even lower, right? Because now that same piece of content that we paid for is getting even more views. And if it's one of our best paid ads as well, that's just the icing on top.
How do you kind of cut through the noise in the space and get a higher hit rate on ads that have, that magic product market audience fit?
On ads?
Yeah, I'm sorry, on influencers. When it comes to like selecting influencers and like working with them, how do you improve your hit rate to make sure you're not getting duds essentially in the influencer game, which I know can be a problem?
Yeah, well, it's so easy for us because influencers are siloed in our space, like in sports by sport.
Yeah.
So, the first 50 influencers we signed were basketball influencers. And we were able to it's almost helping them out because their audience is more than likely familiar with our product. It made their content and their influence that much more powerful because, we're hitting a small group here. There's less than 1 million high school basketball players in the country. And so they're all only consuming so much content. So we focused on finding people that had, good engagement rate. We used Creator IQ to understand exactly how many people they were reaching, and what to expect from a post. And we just ensured from a CPM basis that we weren't going to get killed. We were going to get an efficient CPM. And we just kind of let that snowball. And now it's like crazy, how much more even a year ago we're able to spend on influencers versus last year, just because we've been able to keep that flywheel going.
Amazing. I was doing a chat yesterday with someone about the sort of sporting accessory space. Talking about the golf space and how like the golf space has like exploded, from these 100-year-old brands that have been around for a while to now all these other bag manufacturers and t-shirt, clothing manufacturers. I was thinking of these guys I met at one of the last Vancouver meetups I was at from Next Round. Have you heard of them? We should almost connect you guys because they're these guys in their early 20s from Quebec, and their Next Round is this like massive. I think they're 8 figures if not already. And they sell all the things around football equipment. So like not the pads or the helmets or anything like that, but the visors and the shivers and all the things that you can add style to yourself. So anyways, so I see like this sporting accessory, like custom, sporting clothing space as like a really exploding one in the next few years. Do you have any thoughts about like channel selling with other people in this space that might be in the apparel and equipment space?
Totally. I think, when we have the working capital to do partnerships like that, I think it totally makes sense. And it's easy for me to answer that because, we know exactly who we're supposed to be reaching now. Now that we've done so much testing and been doing organic for so long, we're so close to the consumer or the potential consumer. We have a comment section. And so we know exactly who we're reaching. And if I see a brand, like I just looked up Next Round's website, they're speaking to exactly who we're speaking to. And I'd be really confident going into, a partnership with someone like that because, that's hopefully someone that's at least relatively familiar with our brand. And that makes, if they're even a little familiar, that makes that partnership that much more valuable.
Very cool. I was just doing some research before this and I popped on Amazon. And so I saw you guys are on Amazon, but I imagine looking at the landscape on Amazon, it's a bit of a challenge to differentiate yourself because it looks like you've got a bunch of sort of copycat products or Me Too products there that are significantly cheaper, like 3x cheaper. Like how do you guys how is Amazon doing for you guys, and how do you view it as a channel?
Amazon's been awesome this year in particular. Cool. I think I have no data on this, and Amazon is something I'm still getting better at. But, my big question is how much of our Amazon sales are incremental versus how much are repeat purchases. I think there's a lot of people who love our product, love VKTRY insoles. They're loyal to the brand, and they're going, they new pair of insoles, they go to Amazon because of the 2-day shipping. When it comes to the copycat, it's tough.
But you have an advantage. You do have an advantage because most people will be coming from some organic impression that they came to and were drawn to. So their brand, they may be, they're brand aware, I bet.
For sure. And we've seen these copycats everywhere now. Like, it's so funny how many have come out of the woodworks. And I get it. It's like, it is what it is. It's the nature of the business. But I do look at the comment sections and I see like they'll try to put out social channels with their Amazon stores and all that. And they'll even, they'll rip. There's a lot of, trademark infringement, totally. Like it's not great what they're doing. And we've sent our share of cease and desist and all that. But the ones that are trying to just leech, we see the comments and a lot of them are like, you're knocking off VKTRY. Like, no one cares. Cheap VKTRY, fake VKTRY. Yeah. And I'm like, there you go. There's the beauty of brand. And I know like a lot of people have been on this podcast, like brand doesn't matter under 50 million. And I agree to an extent, but it's like when those copycats came around with a store brand VKTRY, those kids were smart enough to know like, no, we know who the true performance insole leader is, which is really cool. It's like, we didn't always have that, people going to bat for us like that. So, if people are going to buy those insoles, I would call them, not our audience. The people that are doing that are jumping ship and are willing to try something that's cheap and not patented, I would assume. So
you may not be able to jump higher also with
right.
with those duds.
Yep, exactly. And I don't think with the way they're designed, and we've ordered them, and it's actually like scientifically they shouldn't compete with our product, and so that's good too.
That is. How hands-on are you? You mentioned you had an agency. How hands on you are you with Meta these days?
Yeah, I mean we have weekly meetings with them, and
Yeah.
we're the ones dictating the content, and we're the ones who have a lot of input. I'm on what campaign is our next campaign, and what levers are being turned where. They do an awesome job, kind of overseeing the day to day and all that stuff, and they've taken complete ownership of our brand, which has been truly a gift. But we're also able internally, my CEO and I especially, are able to just take their input and say, all right, let's try this campaign next, or what about these type of ads on top of what we're already doing.
Yep.
So
Yep. I ask specifically just because I actually just came off a podcast earlier today with an SVP at Meta that I'm excited to be releasing soon, and we were talking a lot about Advantage Plus and the Advantage Plus suite. How are these new AI tools working for you guys?
Huge fan of Advantage Plus. I mean, Advantage. It feels like our account's on autopilot. Again, I'm not in the day to day, but the days. I don't know about you, but I would always be so stressed. Like, what's a retargeting ad and what's a prospecting ad? And no, I think for us, it feels like the DPAs are kind of the brooms, and they kind of sweep up all the really bottom of funnel users, and then Advantage Plus takes care of the frequency and what ad is being shown first and what's better as a second touch point. I personally have no complaints, but it's also I'm saying this at a time where organic's been so good, so it's hard for me to truly have a feel of exactly how good Advantage Plus is.
Rank order all the social video platforms for how valuable they are to VKTRY.
To VKTRY, okay. 1, YouTube, or I'm sorry, no. 1, TikTok. 2, Reels. 3, YouTube. 4, Facebook.
Okay. Interesting. So that's for your business.
Yep.
And then would you change that if you were just to give a general list of like priorities for people listening? I guess it'll depend on everyone, but is there anyone that would move in the ranking based on it not being how you've already succeeded?
Yeah, I think TikTok's the easiest. So I think that's important. I think YouTube's the most valuable consumer, or the most valuable viewer is a YouTube viewer.
Because they're more problem aware quite often, because they're trying to solve a problem rather than just get entertained?
Yeah, it just feels like a different consumer to me. I mean, it's the comment section is more inquisitive. It's less trolly. It's still trolly, but
yeah, and more real people-y, I bet too. So much of TikTok, it's like every time I look at a new engager I get on one of my weird videos that I posted, bots. Like it's all bots. So many bots. Yeah, sex bots quite often.
Yeah, that's a thing. No, but YouTube, when we see, and I tweeted about this like a couple months ago, and it's funny, like when we have a video we've had a few videos go crazy on YouTube Shorts. When that happens, like the traffic on the site converts better. The traffic on the site is more steady, and the followers go up even quicker. It's funny. It's just like YouTube can really pack a punch. And I wish, like Isaac's crushing it on YouTube. I wish we had the capability, like the long form levers that he has. It's just we're not there in our evolution of organic yet, but we're working on it. We have some things in the pipeline.
Is that the key then for YouTube? Because you have the shorts game. Like I imagine your shorts, your TikTok and short video stuff translates pretty well to YouTube. Is it really just needing to back it up with longer form content to make YouTube more valuable?
Yeah, just there's nothing like, if you have the attention. It's like one thing to have people's attention for 15 seconds to a minute. It's another thing to keep attention for 30, 20 minutes. And I think if you can build up an audience that's like interested in what you have to say for more than 10 minutes, I don't see any sort of volatility impacting you like it will impact others. I think a long form content community is like a treasure chest, and we're working toward it.
It's the banana stand. There's always money in the banana stand. A wise man once said.
Precisely, and they're advocates. They're like word of mouth advocates. They'll talk about you.
Amazing. What are the top 3 skills that a marketer should have in 2023?
Okay. Humility. You need to be able to take your losses with a chest up. Humility.
And that beginner's mindset that comes with that, I bet, too, of like always needing to learn and always willing to be a sponge because it's always such an evolving field.
For sure. Absolutely. You don't know anything. Humility. 2, adaptiveness. Very cliche, but, one day something works, the next day it doesn't. You got to figure it out. And you got to be interactive. You got to be keeping your pulse on the community. Like Twitter is my best. I'm in mastermind groups. I'm in a Twitter group. I'm in a couple Slack channels. Like my eyes are open. What is everyone else doing? What is everyone else saying? And that is crucial. That is crucial.
And that has 2 flip sides too. And you articulated it earlier. You're also fully in touch with your audience. You're in touch with what's happening in the marketing space. D2C Twitter, you can catch up with that. But by operating, your Twitter handles the way you are, you're also like your TikTok handles the way you are. You're also immersing yourself in your customers' world all the time. Big
time. One of the things we do is we review footwear with our insoles in it, how bouncy it is, how high each different type of footwear flips. And the comment section just gets filled with suggestions. So we don't have to do any figuring out. We just take whatever the top comments are, and that's our next episode.
Amazing. If I were to give you $100,000 for your marketing campaign, I think we did 50 last time, but you're returning guest, it gets bumped up to 100,000. How would you deploy that in 2023?
Some crazy in real life activation, like an influencer. Here's what I would do. I would do an influencer basketball game where it's like the top 20 basketball influencers on social media. They would all be wearing VKTRY uniforms, and it would be like a slam dunk contest, and I would have 10 cameramen there and would have content for the rest of the year.
And they all need to be dressed up like dopey people who are not good at basketball. And I love those videos where the guy shows up and he's like, "Can I play?" And he's got glasses and he's shuffling along. That he schools everyone. Yeah. That'd be good.
Yeah.
I like it. Or I'd see a video of a journey of some guy who's not able to dunk, and like I'd love to see like a TikTok channel of some person, maybe man or woman, trying to like go on the journey to dunk, and then the day that they get their VKTRY insoles, they gain like another whole they do it once they get their VKTRY insoles.
I'm smiling right now because that was my last content series.
Did you dunk?
I dunked. I did. You got to watch it on TikTok.
Oh my goodness. Well done. Because I think we even talked about that in the last podcast, and you were not able to dunk before.
No, I started in February. I couldn't dunk a tennis ball. And maybe 2 months ago, month and a half ago, I got my first dunk with a basketball on a real basketball court. And it was awesome. And what I would do is I would do before and after, no VKTRY with VKTRY. Of course, some plyometrics, when the camera's off, but
of course,
that's not going to sell the insole. So,
well, I'm glad to hear it, dude. This was awesome. You guys got to follow Drew on Twitter. What's your handle exactly?
Drew Arciuolo, ARCIUOLO, and follow Team VKTRY too. Not on Twitter, anywhere but Twitter, Instagram, TikTok.
Well, follow Drew on Twitter because that's where he's dropping value bombs, and they're not. I gotta say, they're not getting enough love for how good they are. So
I appreciate it. Well, I'll keep up the value. I'll keep the value up, and if DTC Daddy can give me a like here and there, I'll appreciate it.
Amazing. Thanks, Drew. This is great.
All right, man. Take care, Eric. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. If you're not a subscriber to our newsletter, you can do that right now at direct-to-consumer, all one word, .co. I'm Eric Dyck, and this has been the D2C Podcast. We'll see you next time.